Growing up, I was one of those people that had the worst internet imaginable. I mean, I was the homie, you'd hop on a game and be like, oh, there's a 30 gig update. Yeah, guys, that's probably going to take me 2 to 3 days to update that game. And it's gotten better over the years for me personally. I mean, now I'm running on like 5 gig wire optic internet or however you say it. But I still have homies today who run on like 2 kilobits per second, which basically means like you're going to download a game and it's probably going to take you a week to 2 weeks to download, especially with games these days that have a large space. And you might be asking, well, why are you talking about this? This is kind of common, right? Well, yeah, so apparently Japan, and I don't know if they're the first in the world, I'm going to preference that now. It's just the first article I've ever seen on this. So Japan has broken internet speeds to a unprecedented level to 1.02 petabits per second. If you don't know what a petabit is, yeah, neither do I. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to read the article on it. So, a new internet speed record has been set, and it's the fast enough to download massive games like Warzone in less time than it takes to blink. Japan has broken the world record for internet speed, hitting a mind-blowing 1.02 petabits per second. That's about 1 million gigabits every second, and roughly 3.5 million times faster than the average US internet speed. Now, basically, that means this is like what, 10,000, 100,000 gigabytes a second? That means like Warzone, Baldur's Gate, basically any new gen game where it's like, oh, you're gonna have to do a 150 gigabyte update. Yeah, that's gone. It is just instantly done. Now, do I think this is gonna go worldwide? Probably over time, right? I mean, people couldn't even get a gig a couple of years ago, so it's probably gonna go worldwide over time. But I also think that this is going to be very expensive, right? Because if you're someone like me who pays for fiber optic internet, right, it is already fairly expensive. And I play it probably for the cheapest of the cheap. It's $100. The cheapest cheap. That's nothing else. No cable, no nothing. It's literally just internet. So, with that being said, right, if I want to go to a higher version, it's going to cost me 150, 200, $300 to get it. So I can just imagine this like going worldwide, and obviously tech companies love to stay outdated. It's like their favorite hobby because they earn more money. And basically, what this is going to do is you're going to see an internet service that's going to cost like 5K a month, 10K a month, and it'll be like widely, easily, you're able to get to it, but they will just like deny it because right now with fiber optic, most people can get fiber optic in their area fairly simple, especially if you live in like a neighborhood or something like that. If you live in the country, you can, but you're gonna have to pay for them to come install everything, basically. So it's very hard. Where if you live in a neighborhood, usually these days they lay the foundation for the optic fiber internet before they even make the neighborhood most of the time. Like you used to usually before like they put in the streets, put in the concrete and everything, they literally lay it out. So it's very interesting to me to see this. Now I think this is cool. I think it's a cool little thing, but I also just think that this is going to be insanely difficult. Yeah, we'll read this part. A team used a special 19 core fiber optic cable instead of one, which allowed them to transmit data in multiple parallel streams across 1,800 kilometers. For perspective, that's nearly the same distance from London to Rome. If that wasn't enough, the distance doesn't negatively impact the speed, so you'll be able to stream a game to your heart's content without losing your inequality. I think that's really cool. Like when they develop this more, right, and we start getting it in America, like I said, it's gonna cost a ridiculous amount. And I do think that maybe that's something America needs to get under wraps, I guess a little bit you could say, is why are we still just like super outdated in like day to day tech? it makes literally zero sense to me. So like the store, I'll use that example. So the store that I work at right now is like a retail store, right? And in the retail store, every single day there is a technology issue. And it's because we're using technology from like maybe 2010, basically. But now we can use Apple Pay. And it's just so incredibly outdated that it makes you question like how much stuff is like America missing out on just in general, right? And I'm never a guy that's like, oh well, imagine what the government has or anything like that. But genuinely, there is so much out there that America doesn't have that other countries do have that just starts to make you question what's really happening. Like why are we not making the same advancements or doing talks or something like that? I think one thing that we kind of looked at a while ago was China is actually developing like flying cars, and it's not like a flying car like it hovers, you know. It's a flying car in the sense of like it's like a mini helicopter basically, but it's a car. Or they also have like ones that only run on water. Now America started developing something like that too, but like it was just gone. So it's always very strange to me, like just in general. You think it would like at some point become mandatory that like everybody kind of has that equally, I guess. I'm not saying like nobody should have to pay or anything. Just in general, like I think availability to access the internet should be equal. Like I think like internet should be with how prominent it is. You should at least be able to pay like I don't know $10 or maybe like if you're on like you like live off the government or whatever due to like health issues, right? Maybe you just they just give you internet that's like just good enough to like surf the web and like maybe like watch YouTube or something like that. I think that would make sense. Now, would companies lose a little bit of money? 100%. But to make it where there's a percentage of any population in the world currently that could have access to the internet but doesn't have access to the internet is kind of just diabolical. Especially here in like let's say 10 years, right? I think 10 years is a good example. I think we will make such crazy progress in overall technology that it's going to be like completely different. And this has to go with internet speeds, has to go with like how good computers are, how good VR is. I mean, dude, VR is already getting to the point where like it can borderline seem like very, very realistic. And I'm not talking about like a cringe realistic. I'm talking about like you can get immersed into it and it feels real to you, you know, outside of like, you know, some like weird stuff. But yeah, I'm just curious to see where all this would really advance to, you know, especially with like not even just Elon Musk, but doing like neurochips, right? Like in your brain, or the people who have like the chips in their hands for like their cards. If we get that type of like science down, bro, there's so many people who are going to spend thousands of dollars to basically become like a cyborg, essentially. And obviously, you'll have to like sign waivers and contracts and all that stuff, but people will definitely do it. You know, if you had the option to be a full on cyborg, that I'm not talking like you know they just like just destroy your arm or whatever. I'm talking about they literally rebuild your entire arm from scratch to have components of metal in it, like you're a robot, right? And you could do like day to day activities. Like I imagine, like oh, dude, imagine like a mechanic cyborg. You literally walk up, they have like all of their tools in their arm, and they don't have to do anything. Now this is kind of like crazy talk. I know it is. It's I'm just kind of ranting at this point, but it's just stuff that's like it's very interesting. I've always loved technology and like especially like the internet just in general. So I think stuff like this is cool where we essentially got the most random advancement in the entire universe, and it is significantly better than anything that exists. Now, I'm assuming this is like they've duplicated this multiple times and they wouldn't have like you know talked about it that or just happened like one time and they're like haha kind of funny you know but yeah, this is what I wanted to rant about today was just how wacky like everything is advancing. I'm going to try to stay up to date on it just a little bit, but let me know in the comments below what is something you would look forward to in the future when it comes to like technology, or even if it's like so outlandish, just let me know. I think it's kind of interesting to think about. But besides that, have a wonderful night. Peace.